There's been a dynamic spirit about the city of Atlanta over the last 130 years that it could rise from anything. Such a spirit. There in the form of the great bird Phoenix, ascending from the ashes. But while that bird has lifted this city to great heights, it has left Atlanta's sport to smolder.
Losersville was how Sports Illustrated saw Atlanta not long ago. Not one major championship in its first 3 decades of professional experience. First alphabetically, dead last in the standings. But suddenly, as though that bird had remembered something long overdue, things began to change, and Atlanta became the heavyweight champion of the world. The city was awarded the 1996 Olympic Games. Georgia Tech, there a few blocks from Mid-City, claimed to share the National College Football Championship. And as though taking its cue from the rest, the forlorn Atlanta Braves began showing signs of change.
We've spent all the time that we ought to spend in last place, and I think we now have to start thinking like winners, acting like winners, and playing like winners so that we can bring the fans of the Atlanta area and the southeast region of the United States the team they want.
New general manager John Sherholz, who was such a huge part of the Kansas City Royals' fortunes for 23 years.
I've been brought in here to try to build a winning team. In fact, my mandate was to build the Royals of the South, and that's what I'm trying to do, and every move we make is geared and aimed at that objective. And so we're going to keep working as hard as we can to create a championship organization here.
And he went to work quickly, renovating this last-place roster, landing frontline free agents like Terry Pendleton and Sid Bream and the dependable little Rafael Belliard, and reinforcing them with new-look free agents Mike Heath and Juan Berenguer in January. Pendleton, who had anchored 2 pennant-winning teams in St. Louis in the 80s and happy to be a part of his new team, liked what he was seeing.
I'm not surprised. At the end of spring training, I felt like we could do what we're doing right now. I got a chance to see us for 3 weeks play baseball, and we played very well. Even with guys hurt on and off, we played good baseball. And when you go out and do the fundamentally sound things, as this team has to do in order to win, we're going to win some ball games, or we're going to be in some ball games to win them.
Manager Bobby Cox knew that he had power in Bream and the returning muscle of Ronnie Gant and David Justice. He knew his pitching would be young, but responsive. What he needed most was speed, new strings he could pull from the dugout. And so the Braves signed the NFL defensive back Deion Sanders and then traded for the fleet-footed Otis Nixon. Everything seemed in place. There was a renewed spirit from top to bottom, from the front office to the field, where a new groundskeeper was charged with turning what had been a treacherous field into a first-class surface. From the field to the brand new food court, everything seemed streamlined toward success.
1 ball, 2 strikes to the Dodger right fielder, Darryl Strawberry. Curve, ripped toward right. That's fair. Here comes Butler around third. Justice up. Strawberry digs for second. Another run is in. A wild throw over the head of Heath. Smoltz backs up. And the Dodgers have scored another one. A solid single to right by Darryl Strawberry, who takes second on the throw.
But opening night, postponed by a rainstorm the night before, seemed like the same old Braves. In fact, when they left Atlanta for their first road trip of the season, they were 0-2 against the Dodgers and wondering whether that bird had forgotten them again. But there had been signs, small ones for sure, but signs, if you can call a tomahawk a sign. What would later become a foam rubber symbol of this team first waved at the enemy those first 2 nights. And they would begin to wave in triumph shortly. Led by the serious young left-hander Tom Glavine, they went to Cincinnati and swept the defending world champions in a 2-game series. Glavine, beginning what would be one of the game's most remarkable seasons, the cornerstone of one of the youngest and best rotations in baseball. Staked time and time again to leads by the heart of the batting order, Ronnie Gant, with 30 homers and 30 stolen bases a year before, just coming into his own. David Justice, the 1990 Rookie of the Year, with 20 homers the last 2 months of the season.
The 3-2, high and deep to right field. Tony Gwynn looks up. This ball is gone. The Braves have tied it up. A 3-run homer by David Justice. It's 10-10.
They turned their best April since 1985 over to May. And before 2 weeks were gone, they found themselves in first place in the National League West. Heroes everywhere. Pendleton.
He's not going to get him out this time. Deep to right field. Jose looks up. Home run number 3 of the year for Terry Pendleton.
Green back home in Pittsburgh against his old team.
Fly ball deep center field. Back goes Van Slyke at the wall. It's gone.
Nightly, they seemed to draw straws as to who would be the hero. And when Memorial Day arrived, they had posted their first winning month since May of 1987.
High chop. Braves win.
They had won 17 of their 26 May games and were a half game out of first place.
Listen to this crowd.
But all was not roses. For all that was good, there was John Smoltz. Their winningest pitcher of last year was really struggling. Just 2-11 in the first half, but they stayed with him, believing somehow it would turn around. Such heady stuff, success, a night in June typified it. The night they honored their longtime hero, Dale Murphy, in town for the first time as a Philadelphia Philly. Tears and swelled hearts. And the new hero, Jeff Blauser. For in Murphy's shadow, the steady shortstop had a career-high 6 RBIs in the Braves win. A piece of wondrous work, going 9 for 13 with 4 doubles, 3 homers, and 12 RBIs for the series. Blauser was back as the Braves' regular shortstop, there in the heat of a terrific race for first place. And nobody was racing any faster than Otis Nixon, threatening to wipe out the all-time Atlanta single-season stolen base record in a couple of months. Heck, on one June day back in Montreal where he'd played the year before, 6 stolen bases in one game, a new modern-day National League record. But oddly, as Nixon was perhaps having his best season, the Braves were still stuck in the midst of a losing streak. A streak in which the Braves not only lost games, but men. Bream went down with a knee injury, sidelined for nearly 10 weeks. Almost simultaneously, a back injury took David Justice from the Atlanta lineup for nearly as long. And so this team of kids and veterans arrived at the All-Star break. Glavine on his way to Toronto to start for the National League, his teammates returning home to figure out how to right the boat. A game under 500, but worse, 9.5 games behind the first-place Dodgers. In years past, that would have been acceptable, even better than average, but not in '91. Progress had been made, and in the process, they had tasted the sweet wine of success and wanted more. And got it quickly, blazing through a 4-game sweep of the Cardinals to start the second half. Nixon with his 43rd stolen base of the season in that series to set a new single-season Atlanta record. And just as the Braves win 4 straight, the Dodgers lose 4 in a row. And suddenly the Braves are 5.5 games out. The heroes continued to be many for the Braves. Marvin Freeman, who had his own personal fan club and gave each member his phone number so they could call and ask questions, was strong out of the bullpen as a middle reliever. And the pen from which he came continued solid. Juan Berenguer took half a season to double his career total in saves, his 14th coming in his 39th appearance of 1991. 3 saves later, he was on the disabled list. Sadly for them, injuries would keep both on the sidelines down the stretch, but their contributions in the dog days can't be overlooked. And here came John Smoltz. With the help of a sports psychologist, he began to turn his season around.
Braves win. Another curveball. And Smoltz does end it with a flourish. Listen to this crowd.
And Otis Nixon continued his own record-breaking season on July 30th in the 7th inning.
One man out, a runner first. There he goes. And he's going to be in there with stolen base number 58. A record that has stood through Boston, through Milwaukee, and through Atlanta since 1913 now belongs to Otis Nixon.
One of the hallmarks of this club throughout the season was its absolute refusal to give up. We saw it night after night, but perhaps never was it more evident than on the final day of July against the powerful Pittsburgh Pirates. They were down 6-1, and most teams would pack it in and save the energy for tomorrow, but not these Braves. This was supposed to be Deion Sanders' final game before reporting to the Falcons training camp. Watch the style with which he left. A staggering 3-run homer that got the Braves right back into the game.
1-2, drill deep toward right field. Bonilla back toward that wall. That ball is out of here. Deion has done it tonight.
By that point, the fans almost sensed what was destiny.
Well, with Deion Sanders, you know he's going to leave with a bang of some sort. It's a 6-5 Pirate lead. The Braves have struck for 3 in the inning. The runners their leads. High drive deep toward left. The Braves have a 2-run lead right now.
This place is up for grabs. Jeff Blauser put Atlanta out in front 8-6. It was dramatic and great fun, but just another night for these guys. They would come from behind to win 37 times, something they grew to expect of themselves. It didn't matter how far they were down or what inning. 3 in the 9th to the Reds, no problem, even against Rob Dibble. Cabrera has a homer, a double, walk with the bases loaded. He's had a good game. The 0-1 pitch to him. Swung on, driven. Deep left field. This game is tied, folks. It's out of here. Cabrera. The miracle occurred. 2 outs, nobody on. Double walk and long ball. That merely led to a Braves win in 13, as expected. As they began to solidify their claim to contenders, Tom Glavine was laying claim of his own to consideration for the Cy Young. But right behind him in the rotation was a 21-year-old babyface kid who would give him as much chase as anybody in the league. Steve Avery got stronger as the season progressed.
The good changeup strikes out Craig Biggio. That's the first strikeout of the night for Steve Avery, and another 1-2-3 inning. He is now retired 7 straight.
And so it became a bit of a challenge among the 4 men who would make up this same rotation all season long. Glavine, Avery, Smoltz coming alive, and then Leibrandt, the old-timer on the staff, but just as effective. On the way. He struck him out. They fed on each other, every member of this team, challenging each other to greater heights and achieving them. Soon, Justice and Bream rejoined the team, and they took dead aim on first place. It was late August, the time when most Braves teams in the past had been playing in front of 3,000 or 4,000 fans and for 5th place. But not this August. On the 27th of the month, the Dodgers had lost already, and here were the Braves ready to finally shove them aside at the top.
They're all on their feet here with 2 out in the 9th. Everybody's standing. Here we go. Little tap toward third. Pendleton field. Throw. From worst to first. Listen to this crowd. The Braves have tied the Dodgers for first. Total let's watch as this club gets to the dugout. Listen to these people. They have gone nuts.
The very next night, Glavine won his 17th, and the Braves are in first place by themselves, the latest into a season since August of 1983.
Mark by Lemke! Oh, what a play by Mark Lemke! Run up the batter! They're on their feet. There's a fly ball right. This game is going to be over right now, and the Braves win it. And you look at the scoreboard in center field. It shows the National League West. The Braves a half game in front of the Dodgers. Atlanta now 14 games over 500 with a record of 70 and 56. The Dodgers a half game back. They play the East leading Pirates tonight in Los Angeles.
There is joy in Mudville. The drums are louder.
August would give way to September, and the race was on. Back and forth they fought like valiant boxers. The word destiny had been whispered about the Braves for a few months, but never shouted as it was one warm late night in September. A trio of Braves pitchers, Kent Mercker, Mark Wohlers, and Alejandro Pena, combined for the first three-man no-hitter in National League history, beating the Padres 1-0.
We're in the top half of the ninth, folks. It's 1-0 Atlanta. The Braves 1 run, 7 hits, no errors. San Diego no runs, no hits, 1 error. Pena with a 1-2. Bouncing ball second. Lemke's got it. 1 down. Fernandez. Fly ball left. Should be out number 2. Nixon. 2 out. The sign by Olson. Here's an 0-2 pitch. Bouncing ball third. Pendleton. It goes off his glove. And I don't know how they're going to score. It's going to be an error on Pendleton. The no-hitter still intact. An error. I don't know if he lost it in the lights. He came across and had a problem with it. It'll be charged an error to Terry Pendleton. Let's look at it again. High bouncer. He came across. He might have looked at Belliard out of the corner of his eye to avoid a collision. And here is Tony Gwynn. As I said, most fans, most players looking for the win. Anything else is gravy. So a high bouncing ball that confused Pendleton and Belliard. It was not hit hard. And they have a runner at first, Jackson. And the pitch. Strike. 1-1. You could cut the tension with a butter knife. No balls, 1 strike. Everybody standing. Gwynn, National League's leading hitter. And the pitch. Swung on, fly ball, deep left field. Nixon back. He's got it. The no-hitter, and the Braves win. They'll never go home tonight. The fans standing. Wohlers and Pena in a no-hitter. The last no-hitter by the Braves was Phil Niekro against San Diego right here in 1973, I believe it was. And more importantly, the Braves have assured themselves that they're still in first by a half game. You talk about America's team. There they go, folks.
What a night. The Braves' first no-hitter since Phil Niekro 18 years before. But then, what a season. And there was still a month to go. A month of tremendous highs and very dispiriting lows, on and off the field.
They were given so many opportunities to legitimately fold their tent and steal into autumn. No fans would have argued. They had already gone so much farther than anyone ever expected. And now they lose Otis Nixon. The ultimate leadoff man who was leading the league in steals failed the drug test and was suspended for 60 days, the rest of the 1991 season and into 1992. What he had built for himself was gone for now, but what would happen to the team he left behind?
The only thing we can do as a team is just, as I said earlier, is to just grow closer together as a team and try to play a little harder and make up for his absence. And these guys have demonstrated they can do that when we lost some key players earlier this year. So I think they can do it now.
Well, there's no problem, to be honest with you. We've overcome a lot of things, and we have Lonnie Smith, who I like an awful lot anyway, so I don't think we're going to miss a lot. And that, if our pitching continues to pitch well, we'll be okay.
Instead of folding, they gathered themselves together, put the veteran Lonnie Smith in Nixon's spot, and rode him through a very difficult time.
Deep to right field. Back to the wall goes Howard. We're tied. There goes the no-hitter. There goes the shutout. There goes the one-run lead. And here come the Tomahawks.
It had been a two-team race for most of the second half, and it looked as if those two would take it to the wire. The Dodgers and the Braves, neck and neck. And fans began pointing towards two weekends in late September, one on the East Coast, the other on the West. 6 games between these two would surely settle things. The Dodgers came into Atlanta on that first weekend a half game back and left trailing by 1.5. The Braves taking 2 of the 3.
Felt great. I mean, like I said earlier, I wasn't really swinging the bat that well today. I mean, I think I was trying to do too much, but I settled down that at bat, and it really felt good. I mean, I've hit that ball on the line, and I haven't done that too much in the last few days.
Little fly ball, shallow right field. Back goes the second baseman, Juan Samuel, coming in Strawberry. Samuel has it, tick off his glove. In to score, Lemke. Pendleton winds up at second. 1-0 Atlanta. Strawberry didn't give much help on that one either. Here's the 3-1 delivery. Fly ball, deep right center field. Back goes Butler. This ball is gone. Strike 3 to Mitch Webster. Braves are a game and a half up in the National League West.
They're a good home team, but I think the pressure's on them a little bit. They're the ones that are down right now, and if we play the way we can, it's ours to lose.
But could they carry that euphoria over to the next weekend in Los Angeles? The Dodgers had seen the fantastic Atlanta crowds, had felt the tomahawk chop, and heard that eerie chant.
I'm happy for the Atlanta ball club. I'm happy for the city of Atlanta. It's great that their ball club is contended, but I wish they'd get off our back.
The Braves, like the Dodgers the weekend before, started strong, riding the babyface assassin Steve Avery to an opening night shutout. But when the weekend was over, the Dodgers had taken 2 out of 3 and were back in first place again.
bouncing ball to short. Alfredo Griffin fields, throws, and the Dodgers are up by a game and a half as they take 2 out of 3 from Atlanta. The Braves will be coming back home a game and a half out of first place.
And again, Atlanta fans probably would have understood if their new heroes had not been able to climb back up. While the Braves were on the road for 6 of their final 9 games, the Dodgers were going to be home most of their stretch run. The odds weren't good, but these Braves weren't paying any attention to the odds.
Home field advantage really goes down the drains when you're going for a pennant race. We go out every night playing the best we can, and I think that's the best thing about this team. We're really on an even keel. If we win, great. If we lose, we'll come back the next night. As far as being on the road, not on the road, actually, we've played almost better on the road this year, so at least mentally that'll help us.
Night after night, the Braves would set the stage, throwing the gauntlet down on one coast. The Dodgers accepting the challenge on the other. And on so many of those nights, that gauntlet was made of the most incredible material. No better example could possibly be made than one extraordinary night in Cincinnati. 15-game winner Charlie Leibrandt gave up 6 runs in the first inning. But coming back against the Reds was something they had proven they could do.
Greg off second. Line, right field, base hit. So the pinch hitters have come through. Deep to right field. 6-3. All of a sudden, we're getting ourselves a ball game.
High drive center field. Back goes Duncan. Back goes Duncan. Still going at the wall. It's off the wall. Runners all over the place. They're 2 men at third base. Nobody at first. Now a runner tries to score. He is safe at the plate. The other man reaches third.
And then with the score 6-5 now in the 9th, and Deion Sanders, yes, Deion Sanders aboard, up stepped David Justice. In all of baseball stood and watched in amazement.
So if he can get a fastball out there, it's open in that side.
There's a fly ball deep right field. Back goes O'Neill. He's at the wall. Braves lead. Braves lead. Braves lead.
They had come from 6 runs down to win again. Their 37th come from behind victory. There was no quit in this team.
I gotta borrow it from you, Dad. Holy cow.
You know, they're older beyond their years. They really are. They haven't let this pennant race affect them one bit. They've gone out every single night and done a heck of a job. I don't know what it is, but they just seem to have a confidence about them that this type of situation doesn't intimidate them.
Deion Sanders' return to the club was just one more chapter in this fairy tale. The Braves realized how much they missed Otis Nixon's speed, so they talked Sanders into trying both football and baseball for a week or 2.
He is safe. The throw gets away.
One day after being named the NFC's Defensive Player of the Week for his part in a win over the Raiders, Sanders was back in a baseball uniform. His presence, not to mention his speed, seemed to give the Braves a huge burst of energy when it was needed most.
They wanted the pitch runner. You coming next to me, D? They wanted the pitch runner. You come next to me? Next to me, baby.
We got a new third base coach, too.
Still, the Dodgers matched them win for win. And as the final weekend of the season loomed, Los Angeles remained in first place. But on Wednesday, October 2nd, the Braves won their 6th straight road game, and hours later, the Dodgers lost to San Diego, and just like that, they were tied for the lead. Pena with his 14th save and Tom Glavine winning his 20th game that night, the first in the majors to reach that plateau, only the second in Atlanta Braves history, nailing down his bid for the Cy Young Award. It would come down to the final 3 games. The Dodgers at Candlestick Park to face a Giants team that was openly pulling for the Braves. Atlanta home before 3 raucous, tomahawking sellout crowds against the last place Astros.
It's just one of those things right now where, you know, you don't want to take any team too lightly because, I mean, that's the team that's going to come out and kick your rear end. So you go out and you just try to stay on top of things and go out and try to play as hard as you can.
For dugout drama, this would have been canceled on Broadway quickly. For excitement and pure hysteria, it will be a weekend that will stay in Atlanta hearts forever. On Friday, the masterful Steve Avery no-hit the Astros through 6 2/3 innings, and the Braves won easily.
Listen to the hand for Avery when he leaves.
Meanwhile, the Giants were beating the Dodgers in San Francisco, and the combination put the Braves ahead by a full game with just 2 left.
McGee goes, and it's sliced to left field. Going back on the ball is Daniels. It is gone.
Whoever said it would come down to the final game of the season was terribly mistaken. It came down to the next to the last game. It was John Smoltz's turn to shine. The team gathered in the infield, their fans almost wondering what to do now. This was a team that had finished last or next to last the previous 6 seasons. A team which had drawn less than $1 million in each of the last 3 years. A team from Losersville. But here they were, having just won a franchise record 94th game with a record 2 million plus having seen them, and about to wrap up the National League West for the first time in almost a decade. And so, together as one, their fans around them, they turned their attention to the big screen as the Giants were putting the finishing touches to the Dodgers' hopes.
Robbie Thompson gets to it. In Atlanta, let the celebration begin.
A remarkable finish to the National League West title. Could you believe this? The Braves were going into postseason play against the National League East champion Pittsburgh Pirates. The miracle had happened. The Pirates wore their own crown proudly, having won more games than any team in baseball in '91. And even though the Bucks lost 9 of 12 to Atlanta in regular season play, they delivered a convincing win in Game 1.
This team has stayed on such an even keel all year long. We're going to forget about this game tomorrow, come in here, joke around, have our usual fun in the clubhouse, and then get down to business and go out and win a game tomorrow.
But in the second game at Three Rivers, the Braves turned their fate over to the 21-year-old Steve Avery. And with ice water pumping through his young veins, he blazed his way through the powerful Pirates lineup, getting all the offense he would need. Mark Lemke with a bounce to the third that takes a strange hop past Steve Buechele. David Justice roaring home with the game's only run.
And Atlanta's going to take the lead.
Alejandro Pena came on for Avery in the ninth, the tying run on second. Wild pitched a runner to third before retiring the final 2 men for the save. And the Braves had their first franchise playoff victory 1-0, tying the series at 1. The series moved south, and Game 3 in Atlanta more resembled a Georgia Mardi Gras. Braves fans, tomahawks in hand, chopping arms limbered up, were ready to party.
I just got back from Pittsburgh, and I told everybody when I get down to Atlanta, we are going to get our revenge, and the World Series start next week, baby. Whoa!
And they didn't have to wait long. After John Smoltz gave up a first-pitch home run to Orlando Merced, his teammates answered with 4 runs in the bottom of that first inning. Greg Olson's 2-run homer put the exclamation point on that, and the Braves were on their way to a rout. A flu-riddled Smoltz and his Braves chopped their way to a 2-1 lead in the series. Could the rest be this easy?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't know how to explain it, but like I said, we just swung the bats well today, and you know, it didn't matter if there was 2 outs or 1 out, no outs. We were ready to play. We were ready to swing the bats, and you know, by doing that, I think that you know, we're going to do that through the rest of the series.
It wouldn't be easy. After a 2-run first inning in Game 4, the Braves wouldn't score again and lost 3-2 in 10.
You know, I knew the Pirates wouldn't roll over. Maybe some guys are talking about sweeping them here in Atlanta after last night's win, but you know, they're too good a ball club.
So the faithful gathered for Game 5 with the series tied 2-2, but the Braves' bats were again quiet, and they stumbled to a 1-0 loss.
Well, it appeared awkward. I know to the human eye and how awkward it was. You could definitely say, oh, well, maybe he missed it, you know, but I know I touched it, you know, and I know the replay should I touched it.
Bottom line is winning, however you have to do it. You know, I mean, I guess it wasn't typical Pirate baseball, but bottom line is they got 2 out of 3, and that's what they really needed to do. So, you know, the advantage goes back to them, and, you know, we'll just see how we respond to it.
Temperatures in the 40s greeted the Braves and Pirates for Game 6 back at Three Rivers, but there was no way the Pirates could cool off Steve Avery again. The kid struck out the side in the first and never looked back, mesmerizing Pittsburgh batters. But all the while, the Atlanta offensive drought had reached record proportions, 26 straight scoreless innings, and so nerves jangled as they went to the 9th inning. Ronnie Gant walked and promptly stole his 6th base of the series, a new National League Championship Series record. Greg Olson's double down the left field line drove Gant home easily, and the Braves finally got on the board. But the drama would only build higher. Avery was relieved, and on came Pena. The Pirates got a man to second, and Pena wild pitched him to third. But after Andy Van Slyke fouled off fastball after fastball, Pena threw him a changeup, and the game was over. The third 1-0 game of the series, and it would go to a 7th. For all of the tension in Games 4, 5, and 6, Game 7 was over nearly as soon as it began. Fortunately for those who had no nails left to bite. The Braves struck for 3 runs in the first inning off the Pirates' 20-game winner, John Smiley. The big blow, a 2-run homer from the rookie, Brian Hunter. And John Smoltz rode that lead to an easy victory, going the distance for his 2nd win of the series, again shutting down the frustrated Pittsburgh power unit. And when that final grounder was scooped up by Hunter, and the end at last had come, the Atlanta Braves were champions of the National League. The first team in National League playoff history to come from 3-2 down to win the final 2 games on the road. The first major championship of any kind in Atlanta's pro sports history. Headed for the World Series against the Minnesota Twins. The first 2 teams in modern history to go from last to first. They would have to open their first ever World Series in the place opponents not so lovingly call the Thunderdome, the Minnesota Metrodome. For most of the Braves, their first visit was a bit larger than life. For others, a chance to greet old friends and contemplate the problems this arena can present.
Seeing the ball, lights are low, the ball gets up in the air, it's tough to see it off of the ceiling up here, so that's going to be our toughest problem. And the noise, when the ball gets up, outfielders are going to have a hard time hearing each other, so that's going to be the toughest thing, I think.
Despite Ronnie Gant's 3 hits, the Braves lost the opener. No concern yet. After all, remember Pittsburgh?
Yeah, if we, you know, take a split out of here, that'd be good, and I think that was probably, you know, the realistic goal coming in here. I mean, you always like to sweep coming in here or something like that, but realistically, you would like to get a sweep, so we're still in position to do that, so there's no need to panic.
Game 2 turned more on what Braves saw as a wrestling move than a good baseball play. Gant had singled the runner to third, and after rounding first, went back to beat the throw, only to have first baseman Ken Hrbek lift Gant's leg off the bag and get the out. Hrbek on that very play establishing himself as a Minnesota villain for the rest of the series. And when Scott Leas homered to win Game 2, the Braves suddenly found themselves down 2-0.
It's gone!
Dejected for the first time in postseason play, but eager to get back home for the next 3 games with playoff MVP Steve Avery ready to go.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough grind, but we've done it all season long, and you know, we're used to this stuff. We're used to coming from behind. We're used to coming back, being down in the series, and hopefully this will be no different for the ball club. We'll bounce right back.
The way the Atlanta fans welcome their heroes home, you'd have figured the Braves had won the first two. It didn't seem to matter. Atlanta was chanting and chopping toward the first World Series game in the city's history. And boy, were the fans ready. And when David Justice homered in Game 3 to give the Braves their first lead in the series, the crowd had something to cheer about. And the Twins had something to sweat about. The Twins threw 20-game winner Scott Erickson in Game 3, but it didn't faze Lonnie Smith, whose home run gave the Braves a 2-run lead.
Another run for Atlanta.
Alejandro Pena, so solid since coming to the Braves from the Mets late in the season, came on and gave up the home run to Chili Davis that tied this one.
Into left field, Mitchell back. How far is this going? We are tied.
But Mike Stanton replaced Pena, put out that fire, and then came the Atlanta heroics. Suddenly, the little second baseman Mark Lemke took center stage.
Hitting room up the middle for Lemke. Lemke hits it into left field. Here comes
And the Braves had won their first World Series game since 1958. Justice, indeed.
It's telling Dave to run. Geez, he had a fridge on his back out there, I think. No, it just seemed like everything moved in slow motion.
Like I said, I was just trying to go up there and make contact and put the ball in play somewhere and force them to make a play. And maybe they wouldn't come up with one, or maybe I could just get one to get through or something. And fortunately for me, one dropped in for me, and I was just happy with it.
Game 4, and it's Lemke again to rescue the Braves. His triple in a ninth puts the managerial mind of Bobby Cox to work. Time for a pinch hitter. How about the veteran journeyman Jerry Willard?
That's going to be a winner for Atlanta. The runner tags at third. Here's the throw from Matt. Here's Lemke. He is out.
Braves even the series at 2-2.
Are you thinking base hit, or are you thinking simply put the ball in the air?
I'm hitting the ball hard. Hitting the ball hard. That's, you know, if you hit the ball hard, you can't guide a ball. You just hit it hard and hope it gets to where you want it to be.
As I said earlier, and as I've been saying all year, we've been battling all year long and coming back from different things, and different guys have done it on different days, and this is another example of that tonight.
Exactly. We've turned the boat around. We've turned the momentum around. Now it's on their foot. You know, we got a job to do tomorrow. After we do it, we feel good about it and go in there and try to win one game.
Suddenly, the tomahawk was 40 feet tall and coming down on the Twins' heads. The World Series was tied, and there wasn't a ticket to be found anywhere at any price. They merely wanted in to see a piece of history, one of the biggest blowouts in World Series history. This team, which had scraped and scrounged for runs these past 2 weeks, was exploding.
And it is gone.
Justice with a home run. And here comes Lemke with another triple. And Lonnie Smith with a home run in his third consecutive game. And the Braves blow out the Twins 14-5 to take a 3-2 lead. All they needed was to win one of the last 2 games back in the Thunderdome to be the world champions. But this man, Kirby Puckett, would ruin their dreams in Game 6 with a home run in the 11th inning. And so it would go to a dramatic 7th and deciding game.
I'm tired a little bit. There's no getting around that. I mean, that's probably why my curveball's been working. But, you know, I just wanted to get us to the bullpen, and, you know, we had a chance to win the game. We just didn't get the big hit to do it, and, you know, there's always tomorrow.
Well, I prepared everything like it wasn't going to be over, so that kind of helped. I threw on the side yesterday. I did my work today, and just, you know, I prepared for it. Yeah, and if I hadn't, it would have been tough. But, you know, I'm looking forward to the challenge, and this team has given me opportunities to shine in the second half, and I don't plan on letting them down.
Everything had to be just right. The perfect bat, the perfect mindset, the not-so-perfect knee belonging to Terry Pendleton. Would it hold up one more night? What do you say to your club after 175 games?
You don't have to say anything to our ball club to get them prepared. We had a short meeting tonight, and actually I just told them how proud we are of them, and you know, to bring it home tonight, and that's about all you can say. But they're a self-motivating bunch, they are, and we're ready, we're focused, and we're prepared, so won't be any problems.
It would turn out to be one of the most dramatic games in World Series history. A scoreless tie going to the bottom of the 10th. John Smoltz had battled Jack Morris to a standstill. But in the 10th, the Twins loaded the bases and upstepped pinch hitter Gene Larkin.
Win the World Series. The Twins have won it. It's a base hit. It's a 1-0 10-inning victory.
But in most minds, nobody lost this classic. For Braves fans, it wasn't supposed to end this way. But in April, who would have thought World Series?
We've had a great year. We've battled. We never give up. We never gave up today, and we were in position to win a couple times. And, you know, like I said, after a week is over and we can all realize what a great year we had, they just had just a tiny bit better.
It's going to be an honor to wear a National League championship ring, but to know that we came so daggone close to a World Series ring, you know, it's tough. It's really going to be tough.
It's disappointing to end this way, but I think it won't take long for you to realize that, you know, you had a great season. You played to your fullest. Like I was saying before, you know, I think each and every guy in this ball club is going to be able to walk home this offseason, look themselves in the mirror, and they're going to say, hey, I gave it everything I had, and you got to be happy with that.
While Twin fans were celebrating in the streets, Atlanta fans waited until 4:30 in the morning to welcome their returning heroes. 7,000 jammed the airport to say the first of many heartfelt thank yous. For no matter how many World Series this team wins in the years to come, there will never, ever be a season quite like this again for Atlanta. Two days after the 7th game, with a brilliant sun spotlighting Atlanta, nearly 700,000 fans flooded downtown to say thanks one last time. Thanks. Way to go. Farewell. And let me see. How many days till opening night? Somehow the word miracle doesn't seem adequate for this team. I'm happy for the fans. They are so deserving. The economic impact has been huge. Millions of dollars pumped into the economy, showing the importance of a Major League Baseball team. But more than that, somewhere down the road, an athletic team will find it difficult to win. They'll lose key players to injuries. But their coach or manager will gather them around and say, look, we can start winning. Remember the Braves? I'll never forget these guys. And I know that you won't either. And this is just the beginning.